Welcome to Community Insight Television Broadcast, where we're sharing information with the community and good information to continue touching the community. I am your host, Rodney Cole Sr., and today we have a special guest here today on this show here who's doing a lot in the community. He has not just a heart, but he has a big heart to continue helping people for a long time in our community. And his name is Mr. Paul Dunn. Mr. Paul, welcome to the show.
Thank you. I haven't felt that nice in a long time. I appreciate that. Thank you for saying the kind words.
Well, Paul, we want to ask you a question, and for the community to have more information about what you do, could you share just a little bit what you do and what's the name and your title and your role?
Fantastic. Titles I'm not a big fan of because to me that just means responsibilities that we're each tasked with, but I'll say it. I'm the North Carolina Disaster Recovery Director for Lutheran Services. So what we do at Lutheran Services, we were awarded a grant from the state of North Carolina that they received from the federal government, and the governor tasked us with helping our neighbors throughout the state that were damaged by Hurricane Matthew. And we're in the long-term recovery stage, and that's what me and my teammates are doing right now.
Okay. Now, we know we had Matthew that happened here in the Pitt County area in the month of October. My understanding there was approximately about 3,100 people who registered, and on the SBA, I think there was only about 1,715 that was not qualified. And, I know when the hurricane, there's some people went back to the business as normal. We have a new president here, and he's doing new things in the communities and in the different parts of the states, and they kind of forgot the people. So I'm hearing from you is that what you're doing, and you're actually working with the long-term recovery group and bringing information to them, and just elaborate just a little bit what kind of information we're bringing back to the community.
Well, your numbers are very accurate, and unfortunately there are a lot of people that didn't even register for many reasons, fear or not having confidence. So if I may give you a little history of how I got involved, that may answer some of your questions. So I was working with the North Carolina Emergency Management, and in October when Matthew hit, we put our active plan in place, and I managed the Disaster Recovery Center here in Pitt County. So after 30 days of doing that with what we call immediate needs, food, just anything that you can imagine that's pretty much wiped out or damaged, what you need to survive today. I was what's called demobbed and then reassigned to Lumberton, North Carolina, where I went and lived for 4 months, 24/7 in a hotel away from my family, but it was rewarding. So I was given an opportunity when the federal government awarded a grant to the governor, Cooper, to do long-term recovery work for our survivors. They asked me, and I was honored to head up this new program. It's the first time it's ever been done in the state. So getting back to your question, what we do is, whether you registered with FEMA or not, we are assisting people that were affected by Matthew, and it's still not too late. If you didn't seek out help during the original sign-up time, we are still tasked with and honored to help you with any of your needs, be it small or large. And that's what our team is aggressively doing right now.
And I do understand you have case managers that you actually over a large group of case managers in different counties. So it's all the counties. How many? First, let's say how many counties you over? I may ask that first question.
So when it was declared a national disaster, 45 counties were designated as a disaster area. But it's really concentrated in 19 counties. That's where most of the damage is, and it still is there. So our case managers are concentrated on the 19 counties, but we will go anywhere in those 45 counties because every neighbor Every citizen in the state matters to us. And I want to take a moment, no matter what your politics are, the governor called my teammate on her personal cell phone and said, this is Governor Cooper, blew her mind, it was impressive, and said, I want to thank you for what you're doing, and I want you to know you've got the backing of the state and you've got the backing of me, the governor. I care about my people. I've tasked you with this, and I feel that you will make it work. And can I have your word on that? And she said, sir, yes, sir. And to us, that motivated us just to know that this man really cares about all people. So what a great motivation he was and is.
That makes a lot of difference when we have our governor that cares. I know that we in the Pitt County area, and I know that there have been so many people affected, and a lot of them feel that there's still no help. They feel that, where's the services at? And I think that's one of the part that you work with the long-term groups, and what is they focus and their main mission that these long-term groups supposed to be doing with these folks. So there's so many people hurting. There's people that's probably home to. I just heard recently there was one person that was still living in their car. They said they still living in their cars, and where people are going home. And I think the Super Bowl done went already. I don't know who played. I don't really into the sports like that. But well, what do you think that the long term groups? What is their role and what they supposed to be doing to help the community when they're in this area here? It's for buyouts or repairs, and there's people trying to figure out how I'm gonna get this done, and I don't have no insurance. What is their role as a long-term group? What they supposed to do and help out with?
Well, in the most simple terms, the long-term recovery group, which is made up a lot of different agencies, faith-based, nonprofits, tons of volunteers, just beautiful people trying to come together to help. But their most basic role is to give hope, but then give hope with action. So the first thing that survivors need, especially time is not our friend. This has been going on for a long time. And unfortunately, long-term recovery does take a long time. But the basic role of a long-term recovery group, in my opinion, is to assist the neighbors in that area, not to judge people. Yeah, we want to vet them and make sure they're not getting duplicated benefits. Somebody's not trying to take advantage of the system. But long-term recovery groups are there not to judge, but to assist and help. And you have to do that, with good judgment, but at the same time, help a neighbor. That's all. It's as simple as it is. Too many people try to make this complicated. It's all about loving and caring about each other, and put yourself in their shoes. When we hear raindrops now, we used to just love hearing raindrops on a tin roof. The people that are doing the kind of work that you and I are doing, and all the volunteers and the state and the FEMA, the federal government, when we hear rain on any roof, tin roof, it doesn't matter, it's not an enjoyment anymore, because we're thinking about that little boy or that his sister or the family or an elderly lady that it's now dripping inside of their house. So it changes our mentality, but it motivates us more. So long-term recovery groups, it's about loving and helping your neighbors and not judging.
And so what I'm hearing is kind of working with the unmet needs, things that they may need. So I'm saying we have a case manager here, and which I know that she's doing a fantastic job here in the Pitt County area, and I was honored to have her here. I am a part of one of the long-term groups here. It's called Disaster Recovery for Pitt County, and then just really sit down with them with the resources and get the information out. We also have a person who retired from DSS, and as soon as she retired, I had to snatch her. Her name is Margaret Dixon, and I'm glad to have her on board, and Jim Cox and the United Way and all the supporters, Jim Hooker, all the supporters, and Mary Smith that's helping us really build this group up here. So when people hear that what you're doing, you're really the overseer, they're making sure that we're doing our job, making sure we get the resource. You have hired case managers that's going out there to their house. What people don't realize, there's a case manager will help them do all their work. They don't have to make no phone calls directly. quickly, or they don't got to go chase something. That person is the one that does all the work for them. There's actually, and I've seen the work that Miss Mary have been doing, and with the cases they bring together and bringing all the resource together into the community to make sure to help with unmet needs. I guess the other question would be, as the case manager working on those cases, have you ever got involved with maybe a case so far back in like maybe 1999, because Pitt County didn't have a recovery group here? Is there anyone that you may say they may still going through since 99, Floyd that came here?
Yeah, actually, we have quite a few, and in a bizarre way, I'm proud to say I'm a survivor from Floyd in 1999. We had 6 feet of water in my childhood home in Lenoir County, so that makes me have more empathy and sympathy and more drive. But yes, we're still seeing people, even from 99, because when a disaster like this happens, it scars you for life. And so we were able to connect with the Department of Health and Human Services, and the state is supplying us resources for crisis counseling. So there's still a lot of people from 1999 that are having emotional concerns, and we'd love to help them with that as well, with some of the resources that we have contacts with. Back on your case management, what the governor tasked us to do was have experienced disaster case managers that are educated and trained. He wanted instant assets because he knows that time, people, a lot of us have moved on and forgot about Matthew, and they're like, wow, that's still affecting people? Yes, as you said, there are still people sleeping in cars. We're searching for those people because we have solutions, or we're going to keep knocking on doors until we get solutions for them. But you said the case manager will do everything. They don't even have to make a call. I'm going to make one correction, and this is a one-stop number. And I know you're going to get to it, but I'm going to keep saying this number as much as I can. This is anywhere in the state. If you are affected by Hurricane Matthew, and the slightest way or the biggest way, it doesn't matter what walk of life you are, I beg of you, and that's a strong word, and I mean it, to please call 919-861-2886. Again, that number is 919-861-2886. And what we do with that phone number is Lutheran Services, we're in what's called the JFO, the Joint Field Office with FEMA and the state, and we have a live operator Monday through Friday, 9 to 5, but we also wanted to have a 24/7 voice answering system so you can call at any time. You just give us your name, phone number, we're going to call you back, and we're going to assign you to a case manager. Our case managers supplement long-term recovery groups. You guys are doing amazing work, you ladies and gentlemen. And what we do is come in to try to relieve some of that pressure, because the average citizen out there has no idea what you do. I know you personally. I know you work 24/7. I know you were helping people before you started a long-term recovery group. But anything that we can do to assist you and the other 45 counties, that's what we're tasked to do. That's what we're honored to do. And so if people call this number, long-term recovery groups such as yourself, you're giving us what we call survivor referrals. We get that information. It goes to our intake coordinator. We set up this process. I'm very proud of the process. Then we disperse that survivor to a case manager who's deployed in different zones in the state of North Carolina. And during our process, our supervisors finding out, okay, the survivor is here, they have this need, what case manager is best suited to go there? Because when I work with the state before transitioning and taking over this program, and this is not a slam, it's just reality, we would give survivors phone numbers, addresses of resources that could help them. Well, sometimes those resources no longer had resources or couldn't help for whatever reason, so the survivors had to drive out there and try to get help, and it's discouraging. So what the governor wanted to do with this new program, and again, it is the first time doing this, he wanted boots on the ground. He wanted case managers to go to his citizens, his neighbors, so that we could, what we call, walk with them. We're going to hold your hand, but we're going to empower you to take on this role, set a long-term recovery goal plan, and we're going to assist you with that. Because I don't know if you've ever been down and out or sad. It's hard to get motivated. And we're just a helping hand to connect those different resources. And I call our team Team Tenacity. And I'm sorry I'm rambling so much. I'm just so passionate about this. We knock on a door to a resource. We're just trying to connect the different resources to the survivor. And if that resource can't help any longer, or they're over capacity, or whatever the reason is, we thank them. You know what? We're going to go knock on another door. We're just not going to give up. We also dictate everything, notate everything, keep a log, to keep a history, so that we know where the case is at, where it's going, where it needs to go. And that guides us and gives us ideas on other resources that we can reach out to.
A couple key questions. You answered a lot of things I'm about to ask you on. One of the key questions, like, who is qualified? That's one question. And the other one, let's start with it. Who's qualified for help?
It's real simple, and a lot of people don't understand this. With our program, even if you didn't register with FEMA, if you were affected by Hurricane Matthew in any way, be it emotionally, physically, structurally, whatever your need may be, I encourage you to call that number again, because we're going to assign a case manager and we're going to help you. There's a lot of misnomer, and, well, not truly misnomer, but if you didn't register for FEMA by a certain time, you couldn't get FEMA help. Well, that's true. They extended it, and if you didn't register, you couldn't get FEMA help. But FEMA's not the only resource. They're amazing, and they get a lot of bad press and people angry with them, and they did this for my neighbor and didn't do it for me. Well, it's based on different stuff. FEMA, I'm telling you, I work with them side by side, day by day. They are amazing. But there are gaps, and that's where people like you, people who care all around the state with different long-term recovery groups, are filling in those gaps. Okay, you didn't register for FEMA. Call this number. We're going to give you a case manager. We're going to reach out to our different resources, and we're going to do everything possible to help you.
So what I'm also hearing, is even if you didn't register with FEMA, you can still get help, because there's many other resources, which I know and you both know, but there's other resources out there to help them. Now, what happens if I don't have paperwork? Then that's going to be an issue. If I didn't have any kind of particular documents showing that I'm a citizen or anything? Is there anything like that? Because there's folks might be watching this broadcast and they say, well, I hear that, I know the A to Z, but I may don't have my documents, I may don't have certain information, but my house was damaged and I'm just a victim as everybody else. I mean, is there help for me? I hear you guys talking. It's good information, but let's get to the point. Is there some help for me? Because I may not have documents. I may not be a citizen. I may not have a Social Security card. Is there help for me? That's what I'm looking for.
Now you're really, really touching what I'm passionate about. Simple answer, yes. If you were affected by Hurricane Matthew, call us. There's so many different groups that are partners with the state and the federal government. There's a group called Legal Aid that is really concentrated on helping with documentation. Or if you lived in your parents' home and they've since passed and the title's not in your name, and FEMA, under their guidelines, legally can't assist you because you're not shown on paper as the owner. We have housing experts that we work with that can help you with that. If you are a felon that can't get in public housing, there's possibilities with legal aid for expunctions. throw a problem at us and let us try to solve it for you, because we're going to do our best to do it. And we've helped a lot of people that thought they couldn't get help. And for those folks that did apply for FEMA, another communication problem that happens and depresses and angers the survivor, they may get a denial letter from FEMA, and so that word denial makes them think, oh gosh, it's over, it's done, nobody's going to help me. Well, no, in reality, because I saw the paperwork daily, a denial quite often meant you needed more documentation or more clarity. An example would be a survivor, even in the middle of all this stress, got a contractor to come out and do an assessment of their home and tell the estimated cost, and FEMA sent them a denial letter, and it was because they needed the contractor to simply write, this damage was due to Hurricane Matthew. So it's something as simple as that, but as important as that. So that's some things we can assist with. You have to write appeal letters to FEMA sometimes explaining that, and that can be quite intimidating. So our case managers, we help with writing the appeal letters. Yep. So throw stuff at us. We want to help you. That's what we were tasked to do, and that's what we want to do.
You gave us a number. You gave us 919-861-2886. I might say that fast. Somebody said talk slower. I would talk slower for y'all now.
Yeah, but I'm the monotone, slow-talking guy,
Okay.
and you don't sound fast to me, but we want to make sure
they get the
it.
number.
That's right.
So if as they're looking at this broadcast and the information is saying, well, I'm a victim. I probably didn't meet my deadline. I probably got a denial letter. I mean, I got mold in my house. The roof is falling in, and I got pots collecting water. And we need help. You know, I mean, every time I go somewhere, and I think one of the worstest thing when you go someplace and people just don't have the heart to help you, and they just push you off, and well, just call that person. And we're here you giving us a number to say we have a 919, which is 919 area code, 861 2886. That's 919-861-2886, where they can get information. We have a caseworker here, and I just want to add this one part. There is a disaster recovery group here in Pitt County, which is called Disaster for Pitt County, and it's that website. For those who may hear this broadcast, to be able to get on that website, and that website is D as in David, disaster, R as in Robert, as recovery, and P as for Paul. And I like that one.
Thank you.
Pitt County, DRP2016.org. And on that website, you be able to, is an intake form where you put your information in there. We have someone to look at it and bring it to the Unmet Need Committee. You know, and I really want to thank the Interfaith Clergy Standing for the Community, which actually got everything up and going at the beginning, because when October came in Greenville, in our area in Pitt County, things was all over the place. So you had Pastor Eve Rogers, Reverend Bob Hugday, Pastor Bill Neely, Pastor Gay, Pastor Dennis. You had a lot of pastors. I may leave some out, so don't count it on me. You understand? But you know who you are, Pastor House, who said what we need to get done in our community, and the pastors have stepped up to say what we need to do. Oakmont Church, a lot of the churches, majority of the churches have came to the plate. And we really need to have the church to support what's going on in our community. So if you want to find a lot of information about what is the case manager, you kind of got it here, and Mr. Paul have given it to us, but you have to dial that 919 area code. Don't forget to put a 1 in front of it, but it's 816-2886 is the number. I got the number right?
That's right, 919-861-2886.
And so to find out more information, and we thank you, Paul, and we know that your heart and what you do, God have really used you in such an area to touch people. People are hurting all over the place. People are going through it right now and saying, well, where did I get help? Some people still study for 1999. There's some people that doesn't own a home and don't realize there's resource You say, we made it to get you out of that home and get you into an apartment. There's resource. Well, some of the landlords figure, hey, this might be a monopoly game for them. Hey, this here's time to be Broadway, a boardwalk where they're just going to buy out. But some of these people doesn't own their homes, and because they don't own their homes, and there are also resources to help them. So, and I think that when they don't have an understanding of what the things that go on and what they need to do, and there's information, and I know that you're running all 45 counties. I know that's a lot of work on you, but I know that you're going to be done right because you have a person here. She has a heart. I mean, I believe I have known Mrs. Mary for a good while, but she has a heart to help people. And I try to find if people don't have a heart to help people, then you don't need to be in my circle. You need to be in the circle with somebody else who just don't want to help people. But I'm in an area that we need to help these folks that needs help in our community. Give them a resource. They don't need no more to be passed around. We don't need to be people to get on a TV show or be in the newspaper and show what they did. God will credit you for the things you did, but we need to make sure we helping them and document what's going on and helping these folks. So you do have a Pitt County resource, a long-term group now in Pitt County, which bringing us all together with resources and bringing information and folks getting information where there's some basic need to be helped, where we be able to help them. And so we really want to thank you for all that you do. And I want you to speak anything you want to let the audience know what they need to do other than dial the number, because I know you and they're getting to know you, that you have a heart of helping people. There's some people that I say sometimes, I just say, if you don't like your job, would you just quit? Just quit. But we thank you. We thank you for being on this show. If you can give us number one more time, Paul.
That number's 919-861-2886.
Thank you again for being on the show.